You know, delusion gets a bad rap. Oh, you're delusional. Well, I feel like nowadays, guys, if you're doing anything worth doing and anything that brings you joy, passion, feels like it's pushing your edge, feels like it's pushing you into the unknown, into new realms, out of your comfort zone, you got to be delusional. You got to be delusional because generally the world will try to tell you that you're crazy, which you are. But they'll tell you that you're crazy in the sense that, oh, that can never happen. They might not say it out loud, but they've placed a limit on themselves, their potential. There is no true limit, but they've placed that, they've decided that for themselves. And the more you get feedback from people about your dreams, you often find that, why did I ask them anyway? You know, there are spiritual laws saying that when you have something new you're working on, a new version of yourself, a new business venture, or even if you're pregnant, for example, to not speak of it too soon. Keep it close to the chest. Because if you have a seed, if you plant a seed in the soil, and this seed is the seed of your dream, or even practically like the seed of a beautiful tree that's going to grow one day, and you don't cover it properly with the soil, you expose it to the harsh conditions, the harsh winds, sunlight, severe weather conditions. And that seed very well may get destroyed or corrupted or become a bad seed, who knows, or not grow to its fullest potential. Very similarly, every dream you have, every desire you have, everything that's new and exciting and fresh, there is some sort of wisdom in not telling everyone about it right away. I understand it's easy to get the instant gratification of wanting to tell people about what you're doing, subtly seeking approval, trying to get that validation by saying, hey, I'm doing this new thing. Hey, I'm applying to med school. Hey, I'm really trying to audition for this, XYZ, whatever it is. And there's nothing wrong with that as long as your consciousness is ironclad. But often we allow the doubts of others to permeate our subconscious. It just psychs you out, man. It messes you up. That's the best way to think about it. It just like psychs you out. And before you know it, their words and their perspectives are starting to kind of, more or less influence you. You're at home, you're washing the dishes, and you're kind of thinking about that thing that person said, or that look they gave you that was kind of off when you described your dreams. So obviously this ties into choose your company wisely. Nothing new there, but also it's just good to be delusional, man. Turn on the horse blinders and just go for it. And taken out of context, people will be like, oh, delusional, that'll make you a cuckoo, that'll, whatever people say. But within context, you know what I mean. Because anyone who's ever done anything worth remembering, whether it's going to Mars, or creating an airplane, or creating a mobile phone that has no buttons on it, It takes being able to see a vision of the world that does not yet exist. And most people are so enamored, so tied to what they see with their eyes. Take it in as information and assume that's how the world is. We all have a dreamer within us. We all have the capacity, the ability to have divine vision and see very far. But part of living in this world, and it is the challenging part, you could say, is the more we take what's out there, what we see with our eyes, what we can touch with our hands as truth, as ultimate truth, as this is the way things are, then we inherently cap our vision. And before you know it, your vision goes from that long-term being able to create what doesn't exist yet, being able to see visions of the future, to just, boom, I just see what's right in front of me on my screens, on, the expressions of the faces of the people around me. But that behavior is not very conducive for being able to create a colony on Mars, or to create something that doesn't exist yet. Flying cars, regenerative limbs, living to 200, 300, 400 years old. You tell us, go and tell someone you want to live to 250. I'm going for 120? That's the current age? I'm going for 250. Immediately people think you're crazy. Why? Is because, first of all, they've never seen it. Going back to this, you can see only what, but research says the oldest is this, that, such and so. But more importantly, when it comes to the stuff that you want to do and create, what really is going on underneath the surface is you're really bringing out the lack within the other person, which is why it's often good not to share. Eventually, the world will know what you're doing. But it's often good not to share. Why? Is because whenever you make someone else feel lacking, that's also on you. That's how you attract the evil eye. That's how you attract judgment, jealousy, all of these things that will impact the seed and make the conditions very harsh for you. But it's good to understand, I think, some of the mechanics of what's going on under there, which is when you say something like, I'm going to live till 250, which very well could be the case for you. If you believe it and you lock in, you never know what can happen. Anything can change. Things can change. What do they call it? The flick of a dime. They could change like that. But when you say things like that, or that you want to have these type of wealth or riches in your future, or you want to do this incredible feat, it kind of catches people off guard because most people don't go out talking like that. And additionally, it evokes the lack within themselves, their own limitations. Nothing new here, but it's just the case. So be delusional. And part of that also, and this is like the more practical side of things, is just tune out, man. Get off of social media, maybe. Or if you like watching YouTube, I like watching YouTube. Watch stuff that like either makes you like chill out and relax, whether it's just some entertaining, whatever you like watching or listening to. But maybe less so of opinions that just kind of stink. Like kind of come from a low vibration of like skepticism and, like this is how the world is and whatnot. Better to be delusionally happy and locked in on what you're doing, horse blinders on, than realistically depressed. You're just so by the book, by the research, all these things. And don't get me wrong, like taste and context for everything. There's a time and a place for looking at the research, looking at the numbers, all these things. But like I said, when it comes to things that you want to do and create, those things have no numbers, have no established research. No one's going to have an opinion on the path that you have to walk. The unknown, your future that you want to manifest is unknown to you. God sees it all. Your higher self, your future self, the angels, they see it all. It's all plotted out. It's all done already. But you, in our human minds and our logical minds, we just can't see it. So that's where you have to walk with faith. You have to walk with conviction. And when you enter that next version of your tomorrow, your 1 week from now, your 1 year from now, pursuing that dream, pursuing that fire in your heart, you're not going to be able to see. Because when you enter the dark forest, which is it's not scary, but it's dark because you can't see what tomorrow looks like or 1 year from now looks like. You don't know how you're going to get there. That's why faith is so important. But that is the path. Everyone's looking for some sort of beaten path, beaten trail in the forest so they can, the trail, when you enter a forest, there's a trail, you follow it, you walk it, no problem, right? You go in hiking or whatever. But when you're walking your path, the funny thing is there is no path that you can see because it's your path. Now, in retrospect, hindsight 2020, as they like to say, you can look back and see the path that you carved out. Your life makes sense in hindsight, you could say. But even if it makes sense in hindsight, you still don't know how it all pieces together. You still don't know how that thing that happened to you when you were 12 or 18 or 23 links up to you at 53 or 55. Like, you just don't know because we don't have the 360 view. We have like a 1 degree view almost. So when you enter the forest, you're expecting to see some sort of path, but there's not going to be one. That's the scary and challenging thing. But as we mentioned in the last video, is it just takes courage, mix it with faith, and then you got the winning formula. Because yeah, it's scary. You feel the fear, but you act despite the fear. That's the courage aspect. And the cool thing is when you do that, you create a path behind you. You start to create that beaten path behind you that others can be inspired by and follow as well. That's why we're inspired by great figures in history or athletes or people who have accomplished certain things, because they've carved a path that we can see and that inspires us. It inspires us because part of it represents what we know is within part of it represents, we know, part of it represents of their path what we know exists within us and in our path. So we can follow them as examples, right? I want to be a great scientist or an NBA player or whatever, great athlete, a scholar. And we can take inspiration from it. But eventually when you start getting really into your own horse blinder game, following your dreams, you'll realize you just go off, which you should. It's kind of like when you're learning to do anything, first imitate and then become the artist, become the creator. The point is, and we'll probably talk about this a lot, we always do, is you got to be delusional. Because delusion is the way you're going to make stuff happen. If you just want to make small stuff happen, make a sandwich, then be realistic. But if you're trying to make a 0-calorie sandwich that tastes just even better than a real sandwich, how's that going to happen? Gotta be delusional. See you later.